In this video, we will answer 5 problems in engineering economics under the topic compound interest. For our problem number 1, suppose that 10,000 pesos is invested now, 125,000 pesos 2 years from now, and 60,000 pesos 4 years from now, all at 8% per year compounded quarterly. What will be the total amount 10 years from now? So we have here how many different principals. We have 10,000, 125,000, and 60,000 pesos. So that is our P1, P2, and this is the P3. So using the formula for compound interest, F is equal to P times 1 plus I raised to N. So you can see the cash flow diagram here. Year 0, 2 years from now, 1, 2. So 1, 2. 2 years from now, and then 4 years from now. So 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. So we have 3 principal amounts at now or year 0, at 2 years from now, and 4 years from now. So we need to find the value for the total 10 years from now. So that will be in 10 years. So what will be the total amount? So from this 4 years here, and these 2 years, 4 years, so all in the future. So F1, or say this is our F1, F2, and F3. Being this is 10,000, 10K, this is 125K, and 4 is 60K. So what will be the N, number of years for the 4th year? For the 60K, number of years will be 10 minus 4, that will be 6 years. And for the 125, the number of N here is 10 minus 2, that will be 8 years. Then we have the 10,000 pesos. The number of years here is 10 years. Then this is compounded quarterly. So it's compounded quarterly. So we can now solve here for the future total. Is equal to 10,000, 10K, 1 plus I. Our interest rate is 8%. So 0.08. Compounded quarterly. So this should be 0.08 divided by 4 raised to N. Number of years here is 10 times 4 plus 125K, 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 raised to 8 years times 4 plus 60K, 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 raised to 6 times 4. So what's the total future worth? So 10,000, 1 plus 0.08 over 4 raised to 40 plus 125, plus 125K times 1 plus 0.08 over 4 raised to 8 times 4 plus we have the 60K, 1 plus 0.08 over 4 raised to 6 times 4. So the total amount now here is 350 54,154.21 pesos. So that's for number 1. Now our problem number 2. To make certificate of deposits look more attractive than they really are, some banks advertise that their rates are higher than their competitors' rates. However, the fine print says that the rate is a simple interest rate. If a person deposits 500,000 pesos at 10% per year, simple interest, what compound interest rate would yield the same amount of money in 3 years? So we have here 2 conditions. The first one is in simple interest and the second one is in compound interest. Now what is being asked here is the interest rate in terms of compound interest. So having the same amount of money in 3 years that will be produced or that will be accumulated using simple interest rate. So we need to find what is the value of this same amount of money in 3 years. So for that same amount of money in 3 years, that will be F3. F3, now using the simple interest, so question mark F3, and then the deposit here, the principal deposit is 500,000 pesos. So for the simple interest, so we have here F3, we're looking for the F3 equals 500,000. Formula for simple interest is 1 plus the I times N. So the I here, interest rate for simple interest, so simple I is equal to 10%. So that will be 0.1 of 3. That is N 3 years. So what is the F3? Or total amount of money in 3 years? That will be 500,000 times 1 plus 0.1 times 3. So that will be 650K. So 650,000 pesos. Now here in our compound interest, so F3 is equal to P1 plus I raised to N. So using the same F3, we have now 650,000 using the same P, 500,000. Then 1 plus, we're missing the I for the compound interest rate. Then for the same number of years, 3. So what is now the value for I? So from your calculator, if it can use the shift solve function, 650 alpha equals 500,000, 1 plus I alpha x raised to 3. So shift solve. So which among this? Of course the first one, the 0.091. So I is equal to 0.091, or that is I is equal to 9.14. So 9.14%. So what if we're not using the shift solve function? So the long method here, for the long method, so we have 650k divided by 500,000, and the power here, the raised to 3, that becomes 1/3. So that will be 1.0, so equals, so 1.091392, and then minus 1. So you now have your 9.14%. So that's for the long method. So that's problem number 2. Now let's go to the problem number 3. A man who won 102,254,379.40 pesos in a lottery decided to place 50% of his winnings in a trust fund for the college education of his son. If the money will earn 14% a year compounded quarterly, how much will the man have at the end of 10 years, when his son will be starting his college education? So from this prize in a lottery, a man decided to place the half of his winnings in a trust fund. So half of this, 102,254,379.4, so that will be 51. So that will be 51. Oops. So 51,127,194.7 being the principal amount. So principal amount 51 million, and then the money will earn 14% a year compounded quarterly. This is there, compounded quarterly. How much will the man have at the end of 10 years when his son will be starting his college education? So from the formula for compound interest, we have F is equal to P 1 plus I raised to N. So F is equal to 51,127,194.71 plus I, oops, it says there compounded quarterly, number 4, and N is 10 times 4. So F now is equal to future amount, 51,127,194.7 times 1 plus 0.14 over 4 raised to 40. So that will be 202 million. So 202,425,842.63 pesos. So 102,254,379.4 divided by 2. Okay. So this is 127,189.7. So 189.7. So 51,127,189.7 times 1 plus 0.14 over 4 raised to 40. So 202,425,822. So 822 0.84. Okay, so this is the future amount in 10 years. Okay, so that's for problem number 3. So let's go to problem number 4. Your spendthrift cousin wants to buy a fancy watch for 23,375 pesos. Instead, you suggest that she buy an inexpensive watch for 1,375 pesos and invest the difference for 40 years in an account earning 9% interest per year. How much will she accumulate in this account after 40 years have passed? Okay, so there is a fancy watch worth 23,375, but you suggest that your cousin buy the watch for 1,375 and invest the difference for 40 years. Therefore, our principal amount here, P, is equal to 23,375 minus 1,375. So how much for the principal amount to be invested? 23,375 minus 1,375. So that will be 22,000 pesos. Principal amount to be invested is 22,000 pesos. And it will be in an account earning I equals 9% per year. So how much will she accumulate in this account after 40 years have passed? So that's a lot of time. So how much is F? Future amount, that will be 22,000 times 1 plus 0.09 raised to the power of 40. So what's the amount? 22 times raised to 3, 1.09 raised to 40. So that will be 691,007.24 pesos. So that's for problem number 4. Now for our last problem, number 5. Which is better for an investor? To invest at 5.5% compounded semi-annually or 5% compounded monthly? Show proof or the solution. So we're going to make a comparison between these two. So for the first one, it says there the I for the first one, I1 is equal to 5.5, or that will be 5.5% compounded semi-annually. That is M is equal to 2. And then for the second one, that is I2, that will be 5% compounded monthly. And what's the best way to compare them is by having same P, principal amount. So what will be the F1? So F1 is equal to P times 1 plus I. So our I1 here is 0.055 divided by 2 raised to n. Say number of year is 1. So what's the value of F1? 1. So 1 plus 0.055 over 2 raised to 2. So that will be 1.056. So 1.056 P. How about F2? F2 is same principal P, 1 plus 0.05 over 12 raised to 1 times 12. So that will be 1.0512, 1.051 P. So which one is greater amount? So that will yield a higher value. So that will be the F1. So F1 is better for an investor at 1.056. Okay, so that's all for this video.